So in the next few minutes, we're gonna go through personal goals and mission. Patty brought up a really great point that we choose to farm every day, and I think that's really valuable because whether or not we started farming, chosen this as our profession, or are continuing our family's farm legacy, maybe it's our partner or spouse's farm legacy, it's something that we are actively involved in. And sometimes some of those goals may not be aligned, and sometimes the weight and heft of putting that farm legacy first may not be in line, like I said, with that family priority, whether that's financial priorities, maybe it's our personal goals, and trying to bring those two together and really help structure some of that. So on this agenda, we're going to try and get through the first 3 points, and hopefully that will take us through until we hand it over to Doug here today. So we're going to start off talking about our personal mission and vision. You know, I can jump right in and head towards like the farm mission and vision statements with the whole family and farm management team in mind. But today really is about ourselves. And when we think about what it means to set a personal mission and vision, most people don't really plan further ahead than what they're doing day to day. They don't plan further than that next job, that next activity, that task that needs to get done. And so really want to advocate looking farther down into the future to decide where we want to end up and what steps we can take to get there. I think about it as setting intentions, and when we reduce that uncertainty that really breeds anxiety, a vision can help us focus, and we get pulled in so many directions. Cynthia was talking about ways to help reduce stress, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that we are putting a lot on ourselves every day, and that becomes part of the responsibilities that we have. And when we have a personal directive, a mission, a vision for ourselves, that can really help us to allow us to say no sometimes, to make sure that the things that we are doing really align with our mission, our values. And when it comes down to that decision of why we are farming, why we are doing what we're doing, that second point about explaining, it helps us explain why we are choosing every day to do what we do and are choosing this direction over another option that we might have. It helps us communicate to others why we are doing it, and it really helps us provide that compass, that roadmap for how we are going to achieve goals and objectives in our own lives, so that we have that intention surrounding us. And it helps us know that we do bring value to what we are doing day to day. When we are doing this personal mission and vision statement, there's a really great method to help kind of get us in that mindset. So in Reedsville, you probably have some extra paper sitting in front of you, some spare paper, blank pages. Here in headquarters, we've got some Post-it notes that are going to help us kind of start to put this together, or you can grab a notebook together. And the way that you can start to think through how to develop your personal mission and vision statement is by actually writing it down and start to think about some past successes that you might have had. So, what are some things that you have done well in your life? Maybe you have helped work on a project that was very successful. Maybe you were a part of a team, whether that was during your school, if you were a part of a successful team, or maybe that's in your career, you were part of a successful team, or maybe it was just part of a group that was really formative to you, or that you felt like you had a very big impact with. Maybe you helped with your children's school, whether that's being there for them with a fundraiser or helped with part of their projects. Maybe it's helped in the volunteer in the community. Write down 3 to 5 some past successes that you might have had, over the course of your history here, and things that you want to think of. They should all relate to creative problem solving, execution of a solution, things that you are particularly proud of, or that you feel had a big impact on others or on your personal life. A couple minutes and think through those. Okay, would someone in Reedsville be able to share one of their past successes?
I'll share. Starting an LLC by myself.
Yeah, that's very impressive. All right, let's move over to our Mechanicsburg office.
So I've been able to continue to homeschool my girls while working on the farm. So combining those two, I think.
One thing that we talked about at lunch was earning the respect of the men in the farm community, which I did, over 20 years of farming with my husband. It wasn't easy. It took a while to get some of them to accept me, but they did. And I still, even though I'm no longer farming, I still will have guys call me and say, hey, I just had one the other day. He called me and said, hey, I'm looking for a bull. What do you recommend? This is what I'm looking for. Can you recommend some places to go? Where should I get one? And the young guy who took over a lot of our farm ground that we used to lease, he will talk to me often about what we did on the ground while we were farming it, different things that we did that worked and didn't work, and that kind of thing.
Great, yeah, I love that. So great, all very good examples, all very different and diverse, which is really important. So with that helps you kind of see what is important to you, see what you feel is important in your life. When we talk about core values, this is where we're going to do some really quick brainstorming, kind of first blurt. What are some just one-word answers of things that come to mind, attributes that you believe identify who you are, what your priorities are? So we're going to do this core values exercise here for point number 2, and this should be quick and fast. So you want to think about things just as they come into being. Don't give it too much thought, because the things that are kind of in your gut are what are going to really come to the forefront and be very important. You could have a very, very long list here, and we'll see how many we can get. I'm going to time everyone, and we'll see how many we can get in about 30 seconds. Then we'll start to narrow it down and really take that long list that you created and come up with maybe 5 to 6 important values, and then narrow that a little bit further down to just a couple, 2 to 3 that you think are some of your most important. And that can help you really focus in on, as you're developing maybe a one-sentence mission or vision statement, what are the key things that really you identify with. So if we start on our marks, we'll see how fast we can take this. And I need a watch that is a little bit newer.
My 47-year-old brain doesn't do quick and fast so good anymore. So
That's okay. Whatever you can come up with. So, again, brainstorming some of the most important attributes, identifying priorities. On our marks, get set, go. And stop. That was about 45 seconds. Did anybody get more than 5 answers written down? Go ahead and raise your hands there. Got 6. Woo. Anybody in Reedsville put more than 5?
No. We did not try to overachieve. So. Maybe we're a little slow after lunch.
So we gotta get us moving and going again. All right. I put 6 down too. And I was watching the clock.
I squeaked one out at the end there. The brain was working hard for it.
Okay. So we'll start here in headquarters this time. Let's throw out one of your core values, one of the things that you think describes you or that you feel strongly about. So we'll start with Michelle.
Okay, thanks. Hard work.
Hard work. Yeah, percent.
God-centered.
God-centered. Very good. All right, Reedsville, you're up.
I think like honesty in what you do and feeling good about the product you produce.
Very good.
Enjoying what we do.
Enjoyment, fulfillment, absolutely.
High moral standards.
High moral standards, very good. The first one that I wrote down was sincerity. So, see how that goes. So, in the third exercise we're going to do, it is to identify the contributions. So, what are some areas that you feel you have contributed to your community, to your family, to the world in general? So these are a little more in depth. So you can take a little bit of time here, maybe focus on 1 or 2 areas that you think you have really had a valuable contribution. So I just listed family, community, the world, but it could also be at your workplace, maybe a place where you might be employed in the future, to the farm. Could also be within your friend group, within your church community. So areas, places where you have had a contribution and what you did for that community. Okay, this time I'm going to go to Reedsville, and I would like one person to share one of their contributions.
Okay, I'll start. I feel one thing is, for me at least, is farm transition work, helping families and working with them. And there's definitely been times where somebody said, "Oh, you don't understand how much you've helped us," and that's kind of neat and rewarding. And
it is really nice to hear when people acknowledge and give you that gratitude for what we do. And it's just, I know working in that succession planning space, it's something we enjoy doing. We're here to help, but having that gratitude expressed is very, just an extra reward there. I am only going to ask for one person, but is there anyone else that is just dying to go and really wants to share? Because I love the sharing part, and I think the discussion is valuable. Oh, okay. Well, we are going to come back to Mechanicsburg for the next one, so don't feel like you got off the hook there. All right, so in part 4, we take all these and then we think about what are our goals, our priorities in life that we have for ourselves. So a list of personal goals, and maybe we split those, maybe 1 or 2 that are short-term personal goals and maybe 1 or 2 that are long-term. And when I'm saying long-term versus short-term, I'm thinking 1 to 3 years versus longer than 3 years. And you can kind of play with that to what meets your needs or the stage that you are in your life. And if you're thinking about on the goal side, kind of think about where you want to be. Imagine that you are 132 years old, surrounded by the descendants, the people that come after you, the descendants of your friends and your community, and what would they have said as you are sitting around looking back at the legacy that you created? So as you kind of think about that, where are the goals? Where do you want to position yourself for the next few stages of your life? So we're going to take another couple of minutes there. Think about these things. Okay, so I told you all that I was coming back to Mechanicsburg for this one. And so Michelle, I'm going to put you on the spot.
I would like to just think that, I make a difference in the lives of the farmers that we work with when, being able to help them with succession planning or getting started farming. And when I sat down for my 5 years ago with Arlene, I was a couple months out of losing my farm to no succession planning and a little over a year out of losing my husband to cancer. And she said that she wanted to know if I would share my story. I had no clue that I would be able to stand up in front of people and share that story, and I do. And every time I do share it at a workshop or presentation, there's always someone that comes up to me afterwards and thanks me for being vulnerable and showing my vulnerability, because I always cry when I get to the part of telling them that I lost my husband, because it's just, how it is. And, that they thank me for sharing that.
That's really powerful. Thank you for sharing. So if we take all of these pieces that we have put down, the past successes that we have done, our core values, what we contribute to our world, our communities, and then the goals and taking those and looking towards the future, we can take these pieces and put them into a mission or a vision statement. And I'm not going to make us divide these out, but it's essentially a 1-2 sentence description that combines these feelings into a statement. What do you wish to accomplish and contribute, and who do you want to be? It should include those character strengths and qualities you wish to develop. And hopefully by identifying some of these pieces, you can kind of put it into one cohesive thought process. Again, when I said imagine yourself being sort of a very, very old person kind of looking down over the world that you created, how would that happen? On the flip side, you could think about it as if you were to think of this ideal day. Maybe it's not super practical, but what would you include in that? Would it be just being creative, being competent? How does it play into whether you tend to be more introverted or extroverted? What is involved in that perfect day where you have had an impact on the world, but are also fulfilling your goals and being your full self? As you think about all of these things, you can kind of put all of that together. I can share a little bit of sort of a vision statement for myself. I did not look it up before I came into this room. It is on my Instagram profile, but I was able to do this back with a group several years ago. We were doing it with a group of dairy farmers, and it was for a program. And I'm not a farmer myself. My family has a farm, but I don't sit and farm day to day. And so it was really hard for me to kind of put the pieces together, thinking, how can I show that I am involved in this industry, supportive of the farmers, while I'm not physically able to, get out and do the farm work myself, and really try to wrap all that into a statement. And so mine is something to the effect of, I'm committed to exploring the world of agriculture, supporting the farmers that feed the planet. And that kind of combines my commitment to agriculture, my enthusiasm for traveling, and supporting farmers in what they do every day and helping them and growing that development side as well. I do a lot of volunteer work with farmers in developing countries. So I kind of hit 4 points there. If you notice that, all within one statement. And I've really kept that probably for the last, I don't know, I went through that program 2015. And one thing to keep in mind is this is a growing document. It should change as your life evolves over time. So far, that one has really stuck with me. Not saying that yours has to. Yours should grow and evolve as you do it. So I'm going to take the last couple minutes here of this section. And since we've got Post-it notes here in Mechanicsburg, if you're able to write it down on a Post-it, I think having that, either put up on your mirror, on your vanity, in front of your computer, wherever you see it, whether it's in the milk house or, wherever you're kind of looking on your refrigerator to kind of give you that centering purpose every day. I can cut it out, tape it somewhere, so that you're being reminded of what your purpose is. And then when you do get asked to do things, because you are women, you get asked to do all of the fun, extra help things that are not part of your day-to-day job description, you can stop and think, does it align back to my mission and my vision for myself and my family and my community? When you do get asked to be on the school board or help pick this up, you can say, I'm really focused on supporting my church community. I'm really focused on supporting my 4-H program. And maybe I need to say no to that other program that is very valuable, but maybe it's someone else's mission or vision to support that in their best capacity. So let's take another couple of minutes here. I'm going to give you 2 to 3 more minutes to try and kind of outline some of these things. And if you have to take it home with you and work on it, even better, gives you some time to think about it on the drive home today as well. I'm not going to ask anyone to share theirs out loud today, but I hope you've been honest in developing your personal mission and vision statements, and I do suggest that you do share it with someone that you are close with. As we know, sharing can help bring something to fruition, and sharing it with someone close with you can help really bring that to practice. And also, provide some feedback and say, does this sound like me? Or did I just create something that is for a totally different person that you've never met before? They're not meant to be written and blasted to stone and never changed. We are creatures that grow and evolve. So take some time, build this into your practice. If you create goals or so again, I hope this has been valuable for everyone, and we are going to talk a little bit about financial health here because this is finances, and I would be remiss if we didn't do a little bit on finances. But before we get to that, if you want to take this mission and vision one step further and take it back and start thinking about it on a business level with your farm family or your farm business, I have included in our handouts for today a great program from Purdue University, Black and Red. printout here, developing mission and vision statements, and it has some great exercises. When I work on this with farms, typically what I recommend is that each member of the family do one for themselves individually, and then you can compare how everyone answered, because oftentimes people will have different viewpoints. But a couple of things that I thought were really valuable is on that first page of exercises and questions, we asked if our farm could be anything in 10 years, what would it be? What is our business especially good at? What do family members in the business value? And through some of these questions, we can start to also develop our mission and vision for the business. And I think this publication in particular does some of the best work at helping to walk through it. And of course, our folks from Penn State Extension and PA FarmLink and actually Farm Credit are all here to help with that. If you'd like someone to be like a third party to help you kind of go through that doesn't have any vested stake in how that turns out. So in the last minute or two, we are going to do a financial well-being scale and questionnaire. So this is a little survey you're going to take. It is also available online. So if anyone is watching this remotely, you can go to consumerfinance.gov/financial well-being, and financial well-being has hyphens between those words. And you could just Google CFPB for Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, financial well-being scale, and you will definitely find it. So this is a one-page questionnaire, and we are going to take this together. You're going to score yourself. So you're going to just do the front page, and then we're going to go through, scoring is on the back 2 pages. So this is going to tell us a little bit about what your personal financial well-being is. It has nothing to do with farms, and it starts to get you thinking about your financial future. And this is just a little bit of an overview today. We're not going to get into it. There is another worksheet here that I've included that kind of can help you give you some areas to focus on, whether it's day-to-day expenses, unexpected expenses, and some things like that. But in the interest of time, we are just going to do the financial well-being scale today. And if anybody wants to talk about it further, we can, of course, talk about it after the program today. Are happy to discuss some of the tools and methods we can use to help improve. And so we're going to take just a couple of minutes because it is only that first page. So part 1, part 2, there's 10 questions there. And then there is a difference in score based on if you are 61 years and younger or if you are over the age of 62. And for some reason, there is a difference between if you are self-administering or if you're having the questions read to you. And I think that's just based on if someone could misinterpret based on the questions being asked to them. So take a minute, answer those questions 1 through 10, and then when everyone is ready, Reedsville, let me know when you are all done, and we will go through how to score this financial questionnaire. So if you've answered all 10 questions on the front, you are going to flip over to page 2, and you are going to circle the corresponding number with how you answered. So, for example, for question 1, if you answered somewhat, you are going to flip over and circle the somewhat, which is a score of 2, and you can give yourself that 2 response value there. And then as you get all of those numbers in place, you're going to just add them all up, give yourself a total response value at the bottom. We are at a Farm Credit office, so if anybody needs extra calculators, we have plenty. I'm sure they're on your phone. So once you have totaled everything on page 2, you get a total response value. When you flip to page 3, and you can see this sheet here that I've shared, your total response value is going to be corresponding to that first column. And so you're going to go down and circle your total response value. And all of your questionnaires are self-administered, so you're going to find the column that corresponds to your age, and you're going to draw a line down your age to line up with your response value, and that is your score. It's very helpful that they have a data that shows you how to do that. If everyone needs the guide put back up, I can do that there.
We're ready.
So this, do you need it back?
We're all good.
All good. All right. So this score gives you that state where a person can fully meet current or ongoing financial obligations. It's to determine if you can feel secure in your financial future and if you are able to make choices that allow you to enjoy your life. This was developed by experts from financial experts as well as consumer input, and it's been through a rigorous testing process to ensure quality and reliability. The scale ranges from 0 to 100, and the average score in the United States is around a 53. So if you're curious how you fare compared to the average American, there you go. It's not intended to be a cutoff on good or bad. Most people's scores fall somewhere in the middle. Extremely low or extremely high will be very uncommon. And it's just supposed to give you a guide. If you start looking at some of these questions, you can start to see where you fall and where you may need improvement. If you do want more information, definitely recommend going to consumerfinance.gov. And of course, we here at Choice Farm Credit are here to help if you have questions about personal finance and access to financial education as well. Financial strength and financial well-being is a very big part of overall mental health, and finances are a major cause of anxiety and stress. And so we want to be able to make sure that talking about finances, talking about financial decisions, especially when business decisions are linked with personal and family, financial issues are combined. It can be a lot harder to really have those conversations. And so if you do have questions or want some help in talking about some of those things, of course, FarmLink is here to help take on some of those family discussions, especially as we start talking towards how do we position the farm to transition to the next generation. And if you're looking for assistance on getting that farm in a financially sound position, we're here to help from Farm Credit as